On What's Up SML? It's Torque with Torque's Table Talk. Glad to have a special guest for the flight episode tonight. The one, the only, the prime time 000, 32 or 31?
31, only 31, only 31.
Only 31, right? Only 31 time SML Sombardi champion. Prime, how you doing tonight, man?
It's a beautiful night. We have advanced to the SML playoffs, so it's my favorite time of year. I'm feeling good, man. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm super fired up to one, break down these playoffs with the GOAT himself, and two, uh, man, I'm just excited to provide this content for the SML. I'm hoping that this is the push start to something special here with having guests throughout the SML. How I want to do this show really is, tonight we have you, perfect time for the playoffs. We're going to break those down, and then maybe have some other guys come on. Just with some hot topics in the SML, like maybe a QP who may or may not have tanked, a Matt
Yeah.
who runs consistently into the back of that O line, hard nosed football. That's kind of what I want to cover on this show. So super excited. And without further ado, we're going to start off with the one, the only, the NFC, who's definitely better than the AFC, right?
100%. 100%.
Well, let's go ahead and break down the first matchup. We have Tiny Titan and Steel, the Rams and the Commanders. The Commanders, in my opinion, Prime, they feel like I'm going to compare them to a Troy who's made the Men's College World Series in baseball, right? Is Tiny the Troy, and what does he have to do to try to steal this away from a guy like Steel?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. Tiny, his first playoff game of the cycle, I believe. He's been close a couple times. For me, when I look at that game, Steele has the brand of football which wins in the playoffs. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He forces you to have to play perfect, and he plays situational ball. Those are all things that Tiny historically has struggled at. I think I think Steele is probably favored by 10 plus points. But I'll say this. Tiny has a mentor in his ear leading into this game, a mentor who's won a lot of games, and that's all I'll say.
Specifically against Steel, or just a lot of games in
general? Both. They've won multiple championships.
Well, I'm not gonna throw any sources out, but I have a really good guess on who that might be. Hey, I'm in the same boat though, But I will say this Madden, and we've had guys complain about this Madden, right? No defense, this, that, and the other. If Tiny gets that one little weird Madden thing, the blocked field goal, the onside recovery, the mossing two defenders when he just throws up a ball that should be intercepted, that game can get weird. Just because of Tiny's been in the SML, he understands, not in the SML playoffs, so to say, a ton, but he knows what the SML is about, whereas Steel is still kind of trying to figure out all the pressure's on Steel.
The pressure's on Steel, and Tiny is maybe motivated by your playoff run you had just a season ago. I think that Tiny might pull this off, honestly.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Prime is saying Tiny might pull this off against Steel.
I'm picking Tiny, man. Put it down.
Put it down. Tiny Titan. Fired up for Tiny. Then he made the playoffs. He played well down the stretch, and he's really earned that spot. I think he broke Soda's heart. So that's always fun to see.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and look at this next one. We have Stavo against Dump. Two really, I guess you should say, significantly successful SML players. Dump with the legacy. He's come back in this cycle. And then you have Stavo, who's been steadily, he picked his weenie hut division, but he's in the playoffs as he should be. But I always worry with Stavo, does that come back to bite him when he starts playing real competition? Not to say his division isn't, but consistent playoff competition in the NFC is no joke.
Yeah, I look at that game, and those guys are very polarizing, I think. Two of the most polarizing players in the SML. Coin flip game. But if I'm going to pick one guy, I'm going to pick the guy that's been a little more relevant recently. And I think Dump has been more relevant recently. I think Dump's going to be more motivated. I think he's going to be more focused on this game. Stavo's going to be coming off of a vacation. And Dump has something to prove without Long. He got in. Now he's got something to prove. I got Dump in a close one, about 3 to 4 points. Dump's your guy. Are you picking Dump?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Dump on this one just because of, like you said, he's playing so well down the stretch. He's won every big game I think he's needed to win to get into the playoffs. He beat Soda today and kind of beat him handedly. Looking at that score, he's played you well this season twice. I think he's going to have his hands full, if he does win this game. But I think I do have Dump in a close one. My biggest fear with Dump is he tends to spiral, and we've
Yeah.
seen that in playoff games before, where one bad thing can kind of spiral for Dump. But I've seen it with Stavo too. Stavo's the kind of guy that'll, if he's not getting the sheds, he'll be in chat immediately in a playoff game. So those two guys are very. I know Dump would not like me saying this, but they're very similar. They are polarizing, like you said, but they are very similar when it comes to gameplay and kind of the antics that go with it.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're both on the same substance as well, physical or performance enhancing drugs, honestly.
I don't know. I'd be scared to be locked in a room with Dump, man. It's a big
Yeah. Who's winning the fight, Dump or Stavo? They're both yoked.
Dump. He goes to jiu-jitsu, man. He's throwing
Jiu-jitsu,
that weight
he-
around
He'd throw that weight around.
like it's
He
water.
would, Stavo would tap quick. It'd be like that Ronda Rousey fight.
It would. Oh,
You watch
100%.
that?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
would.
it was
once
bad.
once Dump got him on the ground, that big. He's like a bear, man. There's no getting off.
Yeah, Stavo would be squealing.
And here, Prime, we have what to me is one of the most intriguing matchups.
Mm.
We have AJ with the Giants and Doink with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And this intrigues me because to me these are two of the most they're on two polar opposite ends of the spectrum of gameplay, of the way they go about their business. I just think this one's
What do you mean by that? Go about their business.
well, I feel like um, Doink is going to go out there. He's got a quarterback that's fast. He'll run the read
Mhm.
option. He'll run the RPO.
College style.
He'll get after. He makes electric plays. And when he gets those guys out in the open, it's kind of hard to stop him. When he gets rolling, it's tough. There's just a lot of ways he can attack you. Whereas AJ, I feel like AJ's going to run the football. He's going to read your coverage pre-snap. He's going to make the reads. Like AJ to me is just like I don't know how to. He reminds me of like a Drew Brees. He's just like he's got the poise. He's been in the playoffs before. He knows he should probably win this game, but it's not going to be a big flashy win. I don't think it's going to be a multiple score win for AJ here. And I do think AJ is going to win this game. I just don't think it's going to be as polarizing, I guess, as like a Dump and Stoppo potentially, or like a Steele. Steele could blow out Tiny. I think this one's going to be close, but I'm eager to see this matchup.
Me too. I think that AJ is the perfect 4th of July all-time quarterback for both teams. He's not going to pick favorites. He's going to do his best. He's going to tell you to run 15 yards and turn around at the tree, and he's going to hit you right on the button. He's just that kind of guy. But when I look at this game, Doink does have the college style RPO option, like you mentioned, all the fancy gadgets. We haven't seen Doink in the playoffs in quite some time. I think he had a game against Damon somewhat recently. But when I look at this game, I'm going to go with the guy who has more playoff experience this cycle. I'm going to go with the guy who's been winning more consistently this cycle. I'm going to go with the guy who has a very high approval rating in the SML right now, probably the highest in the SML, and that's AJ. And it's going to be a blowout. And I think Doink's going to get rattled. I've seen in the chat he's not happy that he hasn't gotten a bunch of votes right now in the polls. So I'm going AJ, and I don't think it's going to be close. I got AJ by 17.
AJ by 17. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That is I like that though. I mean, it's bold. It's definitely a prime thing right there. I like it.
Worst case, we delete it,
Yeah, we'll just run it back and delete it. No evidence here. And then Prime, you obviously are the 1 seed in the NFC. Who do you see or feel is your biggest competition? I know Steele has played you close. Dump, obviously, there's some tension there with Dump. Stavo, I think you're in Stavo's head anytime y'all match up. And then obviously AJ and Doink. There's some Tinies in here too. So who do you feel is the biggest threat to kind of take the crown from you in the NFC?
Yeah, if I'm being serious, when I look at the seeding in the NFC, out of everybody right now in the NFC playoffs, there's only one person who's beat me at all this cycle, regular season or playoffs. AJ hasn't done it. Steele hasn't done it. Stavo hasn't beat me. Tiny hasn't beat me. And Doink surely hasn't beat me. Dump is the only man who's beat me at all in the SML this cycle that's still in the NFC playoffs. So I had to go for Dump. You know, he hasn't beat me in the playoffs, and I think come playoff time I'll be much sharper than he is. But if I'm just being honest, he's the only one that has a shot because he's the only one that's done it.
Right. Yep. I agree with you 100%. I do think Dump is the scariest matchup for you with Steele coming in behind him, just because of how he's played you historically, with this short time being here. But yeah, Dump to me, man. I mean, if he can lock in and get past Stavo, and really find a way to match up with you, man, that game will be electric, and you can guarantee Primer and the SML, you'll have 30 people watching that game. It'll be electric.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle between two guys who, got little ones on the way fighting for that, so it'll be fun.
Fighting for some legacy, man. Breadcrumbs.
Fighting for some legacy.
On to the AFC. We have some fun ones here. And you guys mentioned it. You and Bomber mentioned it. This is how the AFC playoffs is supposed to look. You're supposed to have Raider fan, Dan, Tug, KP. The AFC East is always kind of weird with Slice, QP, and Bomber. I think this is how it's supposed to look. I think last year with me and Eddie, and I'll be the first to say, man, like I just got hot at the right time. Beat Dan on a Madden play. And
man. Let me just pause you right there, dude. You blocked his kick, but you still had to score a touchdown.
True. Very true.
And I think on a fourth down when you did it, it was third or fourth down.
Correct.
And you ran a mesh spot or whatever it was. And Dan didn't cover it. He had an opportunity to stop you and he couldn't do it. And then he had to go on offense. He had a chance to get points and he couldn't do it. So all that said, the field goal block wasn't the last play.
Did let him kick that field goal too. I did let him kick that last field goal. I was going to let him. He got there. I was going to let him, and I did, which is perfect because the first game we're going to look at here is Dan versus Tug.
Oof.
Dan versus Tug, Sunday night, primetime game, 7 o'clock. How you feel about this one? I feel like Dan is on that cliff, and I feel like he's so close to just like one more weird, funky Madden gimmick away from something not good happening, and I feel like Tug is the kind of person, and Tug has obviously been more consistent than me, but I feel like Tug kind of reminds me of myself a little bit with this matchup. Like Dan should win this matchup, right? But Tug's kind of scary. He's got weapons, he's got a really good defense, and he's played Dan before. So how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think Dan should win. But Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. And after that fight, he was never the same. The aura, the confidence, all it took to impose fear into his opponents, that went away. You are Buster Douglas in a way. You knocked out Mike Tyson. And I feel like when I go and chat, Dan has lost the aura, the fury striking into opponents, and now he's going to limp into this game, and I think Tug's going to walk him down, and I think Tug might win this by 2 scores, honestly.
Tug by 2 scores, and the thing is, realistically speaking, like that wouldn't surprise me, just because of I've seen the the way the game plays. It's an offensive Madden for sure, and Tug has a great running back. I think that's very key into playing against Dan, because his user is good. But I do think, man, like something's going to happen in these games. Something is going to happen in these games, and to me, the great ones, they don't let it define the game itself. They really just lock in and say, you know what, I was expecting the fumble anyway. I was expecting the field goal. from 65 yards to go in. It's going to happen. How do you respond? And I think that's where the champions are made, especially in the playoffs, is how are you going to respond when that crap does hit the fan? Because it's gonna at
Yep.
some point, right? But how do you respond? And so I'm eager to see what Dan we get in this playoffs because, we only got two of these things left, Brian, and Dan's got to be feeling the pressure of winning a Simbardi. This will be his first cycle without a Simbardi, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a legacy defining game, I think, to see if he can kind of get back in rhythm of winning in the playoffs.
I agree. What a big matchup. And another big one right here. We're going to go into QP and KP, two
Oof.
Ps, man. This game excites me, and I've seen KP down the stretch here. He's been playing really good football. And to me, QP has just quietly been dominating that division, but playing good football. So I'm eager to see what this game looks like. What are your thoughts on this one, Brian?
A toss up. That's going to be, in my opinion, one of the games of the week. I think that, man, that's probably the hardest one for me to pick. I think KP was maybe ripped away from a Super Bowl appearance last season. Give me KP.
KP by
Close.
three.
Three. Game winner.
I think KP is one of the more intriguing users on the AFC side because I think KP can slow the game down a bit in this Madden, where it's just hard to do. I think he can be methodical at times on his drives offensively, to where he can really like drain you a bit, or I feel like where KP gets in a bind is when he gets sped up a little bit, and QP is somebody who can speed you up. But I don't know if this QP can speed you up, so to say, the way he's played here this cycle. He's not, to me, when I played QP the first time, I was a little nervous, to be honest with you, because back when I was playing in my first cycle here, QP, sorry, was that guy who could pass down the field.
Yeah, he can't much anymore.
It was scary, to play QP at that point. But if he tries to run the football against KP and dink and dunk, like he's gonna have a really hard time with KP in this game. And
it's crazy.
My biggest thing here, it's just like a legacy defining game for both of these guys. I think this could really make or break their cycles potentially. But I'm gonna ride with you on this one. I think KP by 3.
Close one.
Late. It might even be like a walk-off winner.
That might be the game of the week.
Yeah, and I hope we get a really good commentary team on that one. That would be electric.
That'll be fun.
It'd be really fun. In our last matchup, last but not least, we have a fun one here with Slice and Raider Fan. I just got out of a game with Raider Fan. Obviously a little different with Genty out. I think that makes him a little nervous. He runs a ton of cover 4, and it's kind of weird because it's a match defense, and you kind of have to know who's following who when you play against him. But that team, man, I was looking at him, man, when we went to the loading screen. I think this offense is like 93 overall, and the defense is like 96, and the defensive line is crazy. I feel like his team is made to be really good if Madden will allow it. If he can get the pass rush, which he did against me a good bit. But I think in this Madden against Slice is going to throw some weird, different looks at you. I think if you can just stay calm and grind him out, I really feel like Raider Fan has a chance to run away with this one.
It's weird because I think Slice has this ceiling of actually being like a top 7 SML player, but his game management is probably the worst out of anybody in the playoffs. I've benefited from that actually twice against him. Because of that, and because it's the playoffs, I'm going to go with Raider Fan. But I think Slice, on his best day, can be anybody in the SML playoffs, including myself.
Yeah, and I've seen that, and it's funny you say that about the game management because I played Slice last year in a game to basically get in the playoffs, and man, he was beating me the entire game, and then come fourth quarter, I think it was around 4 minutes. I think I kind of just I think I won that game late, like 38-35, but that does ring a bell with the game management late because I think he panicked a little bit and did some kind of weird, like threw an interception or maybe
Yeah.
fumbled and like kind of panicked a little bit. That game's intriguing, but to me, like RF making the run and then being here again against Slice is, I think, favorable for him. But I'm eager to see, like you said, what kind of Slice do we get in that one. So I'm gonna go Raider fan, but I think it's gonna be by 7 in that
Yeah, I
one.
had Raider fans 6.5, and that game could be a coin flip game too. Raider fan, I think, is hungry to get back, make a playoff push. He's a solid all around player, so that'll be a fun one to watch again. Another good coin flip AFC game. Honestly, I think all three of them are coin flips.
Yeah, the AFC is weird, man. I feel like a lot of these guys have played each other a ton here lately, especially like towards the end of the season. Some division foes in here. I mean, you have 3 guys from the AFC West in there. That's just crazy.
Yeah,
And we can't forget the number 1 seed, the Mad Bomber himself. Uh, Bomber's playing good, man. He'll get Richardson back, and he's been having to play. I got the chance to speak with him often in the DMs a little bit after our game, and just kind of complimented him how well he played with the backup quarterback, and he mentioned to me that that actually kind of shook him up a little bit, like kind of woke him back up a little bit, late in the cycle, having to lock back in with a backup quarterback and like try some new things and play different. So I think that AR injury was the best thing to happen to Bomber because I think it kind of lit the fire again in him to have to win some games, and now he's locked down with 1 seed. But he's obviously
yeah,
the
he was
favorite, right?
sleepwalking. Yeah, he's a favorite, I think. And yeah, last season would have been 3 straight Super Bowl appearances for him. I think he got surprised a little bit by KP. I don't think that'll happen this season. I think Bomber's a favorite. Um, I just don't see a lot of confidence from anybody else in the AFC to beat him.
Yeah, he's suffocating the play. I mean, especially if he gets Samson rolling, and then he's always been a really good defensive user. And one thing about Bomber is you can't play him the same twice. You kind of have to
Mm-hmm.
change your game plan against him going in, or else he adapts. And I've been a witness to that. I've beaten him twice this cycle, and the next time I went to play him and attempted to do the same thing, uh, there was no shot. He would end up beating me by 2 or 3 scores, and he's very capable of doing that in the playoffs.
No, he is smart, very smart, situationally aware, talented. He checks all the boxes. As long as, I think, similar to Dump a little bit, as long as he doesn't tilt, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a player in the playoffs to make him tilt, maybe like a Meats or somebody, that could
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Meats is the master at it.
But I don't think anyone else has the ability to do that. He's played Dan well all cycle. I think he would play QP extremely well, just that matchup. So, well, I think that about wraps it up. Brian, we're at 23 minutes. Thank you for hopping on for this flight episode. Really excited, really intrigued by these playoffs, man. You have any final words for the SML crew?
No, man. First of all, I appreciate you letting me be on the introductory episode. It's a pleasure. It's fun. SML playoffs are my favorite time. These games are going to be competitive, I think, and we're just going to see. We got two shots left this season and next season. Somebody can carve a legacy out, but you're going to have to beat the GOAT because I'm going to be there. Whether it's in the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, I'm going to be there. And let me tell you, spoiler alert: no one's going to beat me.
You heard it here first, or really not first, because I think he's been saying it all cycle. But Prime Time 000 says, if you come, walk in my house, you better be strapped and ready to roll
You're going to
because
be ready.
you ain't getting it.
Be
Hat
ready.
turned backwards.
We ready.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm Torque. This is Primetime 000. Thank you all again. And let this be the start of something special. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.